Black Panther, an exceptional movie set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What are those? Significant for its outlook on culture and politics.
What happens now determines what happens to the rest of the world.
With stunning visuals, powerful performances, and high-quality production value across the board. Mudbound captures the struggles of PTSD and racism, earning 4 nominations for the Academy Awards. Hello everyone, my name is Morgan Martini, and let me introduce you to our guest this week. She is one of my very best friends from Savannah College of Art and Design. We both majored in film and television and worked on most of our projects together. Sadly, we live on opposite sides of the coast, but we still collaborate every chance we can get. And our goal is to team up on a feature film. Look out, cause here we come, baby. She is a brilliant DP and works on commercials, narrative, and music videos. Here is some of her work. As you can see, it's really cool. You will probably see her on many more episodes. Please join me in welcoming, can I get a drum roll? JAIME RANDEL! Woo! And the crowd goes wild. How's it going, girl?
It's going good. How are you, Morgan?
I'm doing well. This week, we are recognizing the talented Rachel Morrison, director of photography for Black Panther. First, we are going to talk about Rachel's background and how her career began. Rachel has been fascinated by photography ever since she was a little girl. She double majored in film and photography at NYU. She furthered her study in cinematography at AFI, graduating with a Master of Fine Arts in 2006. She began her journey as a cinematographer working on documentaries. She later turned her attention to independent films and caught fire in the industry. She worked on Fruitvale Station and Mudbound, which you can catch on Netflix. She became the first woman nominated for the category Best Cinematography at the Academy Awards for her work on Mudbound. Currently, Rachel had the incredible opportunity to work on Black Panther. So JAIME, let's talk about Rachel's contribution to the 3 movies, starting with Black Panther. As a DP, what stood out to you about her choices in lighting and camera angles, and how did she use the camera work to help tell the story?
Watching Black Panther, I think it was a much different film than Rachel has had experience shooting in the past. She and Ryan Coogler kind of approached it like a giant indie film, where most of these superhero films are shot with multiple cameras. And I read that they, for the most part, didn't shoot over 2, maybe 3 cameras throughout the whole thing, which is unusual for like a Marvel film. You're not dealing with like 15 cameras at one time. You're kind of focusing in on like 1 camera, maybe 2. And that really gives you a lot of creative control because when you're only dealing with having to set up for 1 or 2 cameras, you can be extremely intentional with the way you're lighting and the way you're composing your shots. Even though it's a giant film with so many characters, she does a really good job of choosing her camera angles. She is very intimate with each character. No character gets lost.
Did you read that article on the lighting?
Yes. In reading the article, they lay out how they set up the waterfall scene. And they set up this massive set where they built the waterfalls all outside, and then they had 2 60-square-foot bounce diffusers overhead to control the actual sun, and then they boosted the light levels with like 9 18Ks. And throughout the day, they're shooting in Georgia, and the weather changes like every hour here. They had to dance around with the sun. It's very difficult to keep a certain look consistent throughout the day when the sun keeps changing and a cloud comes overhead or the sun comes back out. And the other thing cool about the way they set that up is particularly darker skin tones respond really, really well to large, soft sources. It just brings out the life of that skin tone so well. So I think she did an incredible job on that, and it sounded like a huge challenge.
So JAIME, what's your favorite scene from Black Panther?
My favorite scenes were definitely the scenes that they shot in real locations. It's unavoidable for a superhero film. You have to do a lot of green screen work, but I think they did a really, really beautiful job when they were able to shoot in real locations and real sets. And my favorite one had to be the scene in Korea when they're on a mission to catch Claw. The set is beautiful, and it has all these hanging glass lanterns, and it just creates this golden glow combined with the art direction and the set design, it gives the film a very rich look. That scene turns into an incredible fight sequence. They have this certain camera move where they're on the first floor and they fly the camera up over the second balcony, and the fighting continues there, and the whole shot is seamless, and they actually did it all for real. And they just put the camera on a Movi, and the Movi was hanging on a cable, and the cable rig flies it up over the railing, and then an operator catches it at the top and continues the fight sequences. And I think it's just another great example of how intentional Rachel is with her shot design.
That's awesome. So this was one of the first times that Rachel was collaborating with the visual effects team. How did it appear on screen with the visual effects working with the cinematography?
I thought Rachel did a really great job working with the VFX. When you're DPing a film that's so heavy on visual effects, some of your creative control gets taken away. So much of the image is determined by what world will be created in the background. As a cinematographer, you only have creative control over one part of that image. My favorite sequence that was VFX heavy would be the dream sequence when T'Challa is covered in sand and he's becoming the next Black Panther. There's a panther like in the tree, and he has this really amazing conversation with his father, and it's just such a beautiful sequence. And something like that, you kind of have to have the effects to have that super otherworldly look that it did. I loved the color palette, and it gave Rachel the opportunity to use some really unusual, like, bold colors in it. There's like really strong blues and purples in the sky, and she transfers those colors to the lights that she uses to light the characters. And it just has this beautiful, soft, dreamlike look to it. Her lighting blends perfectly with the world that they created. Just a beautiful marriage of cinematography and VFX working together.
Okay, girl, let's talk a little bit about Mudbound.
I really loved the film. It was a very intense experience watching it, and heartbreaking, and at times really difficult to watch. The color palette in the film was beautiful. It was very subtle. She is still able to integrate a beautiful color palette in a film that had a somewhat desaturated color grade. And then I really enjoyed the way she shot the film in a documentary sort of style, which I think is one of her signature looks. And the fact that she DPs and operates for a lot of her films makes the camera feel like it's living and breathing with the characters. And it just gives the film a much more intimate feeling, and the audience just feels really connected with what the characters are going through. I saw a couple behind-the-scenes shots where the camera's on the dolly, but instead of it being on a tripod head, Rachel is standing on the dolly and the camera's on her shoulder. She's like the heart behind the camera.
She really picks these movies that make a statement, and I thought that was kind of cool.
She seems to really choose projects that have something to say about the current state of things. A common theme comes out about social justice, and if you look at Black Panther, Fruitvale Station, and Mudbound, all three have a very strong message about justice for Black communities, specifically in America. And that is a message that is extremely relevant today with all of the chaos happening in America and all of the injustices that are inflicted on the Black community. Sometimes it really just takes storytelling to open people's perspectives up to the personal experiences people are going through that may not be like them, and they may not realize the hardships and the difficulties that shape these people's lives. So someone may walk into the theater, they may walk into Black Panther because they want to see a fun superhero movie and walk out with a newfound perspective. Maybe they hadn't really thought that much about the Black Lives Matter movement or other movements like that really try to integrate social change. They may walk out with a new empathy, a newfound understanding.
And I think it's important to, as an artist, feel like you are making a difference. I really admire her for that. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Rachel was asked what it's like as a woman in this business, and I really loved her response. I think it's sort of mind-blowing that there's 51% women and 4% female DPs and probably 0.05 female gaffers, female key grips. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Frankly, our world is dealing in emotion. which is something that I think women are known for doing quite well. And it's really about channeling empathy into visual imagery. I think the big trick is to just get to a point where we're just considered DPs and we're not female DPs. And when you think of the word doctor, teacher, you don't think gender. And it'd be nice to get to a place where DP meant either, and director either, and gaffer meant either. I wholeheartedly agree with this statement. And this is such a great topic to touch on because the primary focus of this show is recognizing female filmmakers. Our goal is to give hope to female filmmakers who are trying to break out in the industry. I strongly dislike the idea of labeling gender or the concept of women versus men. To me, the ideal workforce is one where all genders and races have equal opportunities and equal pay. Jamie, can you speak to this statement and give us a little bit of your perspective as a woman in this industry?
The job is very technical, but it's also very emotional, and you have to have both sides. And it's pretty much 50-50. You have to be extremely technically competent, but also very creative and imaginative and in touch with emotion. Women just bring something different to the table. Not to say it's any better or worse than what men bring to the table, but I think that it just really opens the window up to a different style and different point of view. In the ASC, which is the American Society of Cinematographers, there are 375 members and only 18 of those members are women. And those stats are extremely low, and it just kind of paints the picture quite quickly how imbalanced it is right now. And I think it's especially difficult to get in as a woman because the process of getting in is being referred by people that are already in it. And so I think that kind of perpetuates the boys club mentality of being a cinematographer of that level and that status. Hopefully that can change over the years as more and more women are able to make it to the top and be shooting movies like Black Panther. And the fact that Rachel Morrison was nominated for an Oscar cinematography for the first time is showing that those doors are slowly being opened. And it's a really cool thing for up-and-coming female DPs, for people like me that would love to one day be on that level, to see another woman make it and have that much success is encouraging, and it gives you something to hope for and shows you that it's possible.
Thank you so much for coming on to my show, Jamie, and I hope to see a lot more of you. You're seriously amazing, and you're so well-spoken. Always a pleasure. I love you.
I love you too, Morgan. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I love you so much, and you're an inspiration, and I love working with you. Wakanda forever!
Wakanda!
God, we're such dorks.
I know we're dorky. Who run the world?
Girls.
And everyone equally. Who run this mother?
Who run this mother?
Ah! She said it! Beep! You didn't hear that at home.
I learned it from you.
I do have a potty mouth. Sorry, guys.
You taught me the ways of the world.
So I did. You still have much to learn, little grasshopper. So there you have it. Well, I think we can conclude that Rachel Morrison is not only an outstanding female filmmaker, she is also an inspiration. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to check out Jamie's website at bluecarouselproductions.com. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and until next time, this is Morgan Martini, signing off.